My name is Dries Ketels, and in this video we will be talking about the 10 most profitable art business ideas, and without wasting any of your time further, let's just dive in. The first one are online courses. Most artists already have a decent social media following around what they do, meaning that they can drive traffic towards, for example, online courses without paying for advertisement or anything like that. And if you use your phone and free editing software, you also don't have to pay for expensive video and editing equipment, meaning that this is a business model that is an extremely cheap option to start with. And it's also an extremely scalable option because there's barely any cost involved in making the product in the first place. And on top of all of that, the e-learning market is one of the fastest growing markets out there, meaning that this business model is probably one of the best, most lucrative options for artists at this moment. Next, we have the print-on-demand type of business model, which is great for artists who don't like the logistics of making prints, packaging prints, and then shipping prints, etc., etc. Print-on-demand companies are basically printing facilities that also do the shipping and packaging and stuff like that. And you can print almost any product that you can think of: mugs, t-shirts, art prints. Now, the benefit of print-on-demand companies is that you as an artist only have to design the products and they will take care of all the rest, meaning that this can be a very passive type of business over time. Next up, we have the artist influencer model. Now, I'm not going to talk a lot about this because you're already familiar with influencers, but I am going to say this: businesses are making $5.20 for every $1 they spend on influencer marketing. In other words, influencer marketing is not going away anytime soon. The next idea is one of my personal favorites and doesn't come from me, but comes from today's sponsor. Liking this video, which is something that you should be doing because it would help with the algorithm and it would also celebrate our favorite color as artists, which is like button blue, so thank you very much. Next up is a YouTube channel. First of all, there are a lot of ways to monetize your YouTube channel and turn it into a business. We have ads, we have affiliate marketing, we have selling your own products like merch, for example, and even full-scale dropshipping business models like what we saw with Mr. Beast and the Mr. Beast burger. But the most beautiful thing about the YouTube channel is that you can, unlike with all other social media platforms, already make a lot of money with very little subscribers. And we're not talking about $1. No. We are talking about a couple of $100 every single month passively as a small YouTuber with only 2,000-3,000 followers, for example. Now that's a lot. If you're interested in how much exactly, then watch my video, my first YouTube paycheck, that reveals my full YouTube income from all videos and everything. Next up, we have greeting cards. If you look at the top performing products on Etsy, you will always find greeting cards because greeting cards are always in high demand and they are very easy to make. You can simply design 50 cards, knowing that 48 of them will completely flop in the hope that 2 of them will take off. And in that, greeting cards are fairly ideal because you can start small without big investments and then be completely ready for when the opportunity comes and one of your cards blows up, because you can simply print a lot of cards very easily after you've designed them. Now, one of the biggest downsides is that it is very easy and therefore also very easy to copy. In other words, when one of your designs takes off, it will not take long before somebody will copy your design. Next up, we have selling original art. Now, this is an extremely difficult business model to pull off, but it already exists for hundreds of years, and so it's very tried and true. With extremely hard, I mean that only a very small percentage of artists will actually make a lot of money doing this. In 2017, 14 artists, if we look at all the track records of auction houses, 14 artists ran away with 57% of all the profits. That is insane. On the other hand, on the positive side, if you follow this business model, then you might end up at a place where people will pay millions of dollars for an artwork that only took you a couple of hours to make, which is kind of amazing. Next up, we have stock footage. Now, this is an interesting business model because one of the downsides, one of the biggest disadvantages of selling original art is that it is not scalable in the beginning. For every product you sell, you have to make a new product, which is very time consuming. And so that is where stock footage comes in. Now, first of all, creating stock images is way easier than making original art. And you can also keep on selling it over and over and over again. The same product, which which makes it very scalable. And so this is ideal for photographers, videographers, illustrators. And once you've found the right assets that sell well, and you know which platforms to use to sell best, you can start to outsource part of your work to videographers, illustrators, photographers, potentially turning this into a fairly passive income stream over time. Next up, we have licensing your art. There are numerous companies selling products that are printed. Calendars, journals, mugs, iPhone cases, whatever. And so if you do some research, you will find thousands of companies, tens of thousands of companies who are selling those printed products but are not designing them, meaning that they are buying the rights of the images from artists. What you could be doing is pitching your art to those companies, licensing your art, and then they can use that on their products and you will get a percentage for every sale that they make. Now, the beautiful thing about this is that after the upfront work, this is fairly passive and you don't really have to do anything anymore. And so you have a passive income stream business type of thing there going on. Next up, we have writing your own art-oriented blog. Now, this is very similar to YouTube channels, but there's one major benefit to having a YouTube channel. On YouTube, you will have your face or your voice that will be part of the brand. And you can only be at so many different places at the same time, meaning that you can only, at max, if you have several people surrounding you, writing scripts, filming, editing, you can still only make several videos a day at max. When it comes to writing a blog, you can potentially write and outsource an unlimited amount of articles every single day. And over time, turn your art blog into some media company as big as you really want it. Now, there are two major downsides to having a blog. One, your brand will be less powerful, less strong than a face on YouTube. And number two, you will not make as much money all the way in the beginning, the first couple of thousands of followers, subscribers, readers, as you would with a YouTube channel. Next up, we have the membership model, which is basically a service or product that you provide to your customers who will be paying on a monthly basis for that. The most obvious option to use here is Patreon, which you are familiar with, but nowadays you can easily build your own membership site and connect to your WordPress website, which means that you will not have to pay the insanely high Patreon fees. I've seen artists provide products like updates to courses on a monthly basis, sticker packages, enamel pin packages, stock footages for other artists, etc., etc. Now, one of the benefits with the membership side is that your income is extremely steady, meaning that you know at any given moment how much you will be making 6 months later. And if you decide to provide an e-product for your membership platform, then the scalability is extremely high because the cost of your product does not increase when the amount of customers that you have increases. And on top of that, your profit margins are insane because it doesn't cost anything to make an e-product basically. Now, if you're interested in more of these art list type of videos, I have several: 17 lucrative art exhibition ideas, 100 art video ideas for YouTube, and 8 best websites to sell art online. My name is Dries Ketels, and remember, art is the only necessity.